What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and have you ever thought about using GMAX Flapple? Well, if you have, this is the perfect video for you. Welcome to episode 5 of our 30-part series on every single GMAX Pokemon. Every episode I have a guest on the channel to discuss how to use a specific GMAX Pokemon. We'll go over stats, move pools, potential teammates, impact on the Sword and Shield Draft League meta, and at the end, give it a ranking. At the end of the series, I'll be bringing back the top 10s with the top 10 GMAX Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Last episode was on GMAX DURALUDON. If you missed it, I'd highly recommend checking it out. The link is in the description. Also, if you want to vote for which Pokemon you'd like to see next, stick around and I'll let you know how to do that. Now it's time to introduce our guest, though. He is the commissioner of the IBL and coach of the Vegas Golden Corviknights. It's DarkDevil26. How's it going, Brendan?
I'm doing swell. I'm happy to be here to talk about GMAX Flapple with the people.
I'm happy to have you on as well. It's been a while since the last time you were on the channel, so it's good to have you back.
Right? Like, it's actually been so long. Like, I don't even remember the last time I was here.
Oh, it's got to be like at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
I know,
so.
Right?
If you guys didn't know, the IBL is one of the best managed leagues, okay? Brendan does a phenomenal job of taking care of this league. It's his baby, and he's done an incredible job of managing the coaches, making sure that everyone is happy. So if you guys are fans of Draft League, IBL is definitely one of the best ones out there. Now, if you guys are excited for the video, I'd really appreciate if you left a like, commented your thoughts on GMAX Flapple, and then subscribe to the channel if you enjoy competitive Pokemon content, because I make a ton of stuff like this. And if you have any suggestions for what you'd like me to cover next, leave in the comments as well. Now, Brendan, tell me what about GMAX Flapple stands out the most to you?
Okay, so I personally think the thing that stands out to GMAX Flapple for me is the Hustle gimmick. So as you guys know, Hustle is the ability that increases attack, lowers accuracy, and I think Flapple actually takes advantage of it very well, especially in its GMAX form. The reason I say that is because its GMAX signature move, GMAX Tartness, lowers your opponent's evasion, meaning it complements Hustle very well. And with Flapple's decent physical move pool, I feel overall as a whole, GMAX Flapple can take advantage of the whole Hustle shenanigans with its GMAX move and proceed to set up if the opening is there with Dragon Dance.
Let's just be honest, without Hustle, GMAX Flapple is nowhere near as terrifying. Its stats really aren't that impressive, but Hustle makes it really worth it. That, I think it's like a 1.3% or 1.5 is basically a choice band on top of all your physical moves, even though you do have 80% accuracy. But that 80% accuracy doesn't apply to when you're using your max moves. So you're just basically hoping, can I live a hit from a GMAX Flapple? And majority of the time, it's no. There are a couple other abilities. Ripen, I mean, kind of useful if you're running like a Citrus Berry or a Super Recovery Berry set, but again, not super viable. Gluttony is more useful, I find, on a regular Flapple than a GMAX Flapple. So would you use any of these other abilities when you're using GMAX Flapple, or would you strictly stick to Hustle?
I would personally stick to Hustle because I feel the whole premise of GMAX Flapple is using the GMAX Tartness in its GMAX state. And like you said, GMAX Tartness is going to hit very hard. It's disgusting. It's really strong, and with Hustle, like, the accuracy doesn't matter. But we got to talk about afterwards. When Flapple returns back to normal, it can also take advantage of that signature move, because while Hustle now is in effect and your moves can miss, lowering your opponent's evasion is absolutely crucial. So that's why I would stick with the Hustle.
Definitely, I agree. Hustle is super important. The way I see Gigantamax is you want to be as offensive and hit as hard as possible for as long as possible before you go down. Now, I did mention its stats. Flapple has 110 base attack, and that's its only stat that's actually above 100. Everything else is, I would consider, below average. Its speed is only at 70, and that's really unfortunate because if this thing was even 10 points faster, it would be so much of a bigger threat. Honestly, probably one of the maybe 5 best Gigantamax Pokemon, but at base 70, even after one Dragon Dance, you're not outspeeding everything that you'd want to. Is there anything with its stats that you think it could be improved upon, or anywhere that you really think Flapple misses out on by not having a higher stat, or I guess a more efficient stat distribution?
Now, I will say that while Flapple has a pretty good attack stat like you covered, I am going to say Flapple's second highest stat is its special attack, and I can't tell you how useless that is for it. Like, I don't really see it making use of its special move pool isn't that great, and I just feel overall that's just a bunch of wasted potentials shoved into a stat that it really doesn't need. Like you said, if you would have taken 10 special attack and put that in speed, Flapple would have been such a much bigger GMAX threat. Absolutely. But no, instead its second best stat is its special attack, which it really doesn't make good use out of it. So mostly the physical set's the way to go with Flapple.
For sure. One thing that we did notice, and you touched on it a bit, is Flapple's move pool. It is garbage. It is so bad. Like, let's just talk about physical moves for now. You're basically running your Grass move and your Dragon move. Cool. I mean, you can't touch Steel types. You're running your Sucker Punch maybe for max Darkness. which lowers special defense, not physical defense. So what are you really running? You get flying moves, so that's fantastic. You get to boost your speed, but you usually want to run Dragon Dance to boost your speed and attack.
You touched upon it a bit, that Flapple's move pool it's pretty bad. Flapple actually gets a decent physical move pool. It gets 3 good physical moves. It gets Outrage, Grab Apple, and Sucker Punch. And then I also put that maybe like you can run Sub, Leech Seed shenanigans, like it could be used for utility purposes, and of course Dragon Dance. But you're mostly going to be using the Dragon Dance set. Like, I just felt like Sub and Leech Seed might be good, just in case if you want to be a little cheeky and use some utility with Flapple. But other than that, I don't think it's good for much else.
Yeah, there really isn't anything else that benefits it. And it really sucks because Flapple is a cool mon. I mean, like, its design is really cool. Its GMAX is interesting-ish. I'll say not my favorite, but not my least favorite. It definitely has some weaknesses that are paired up by its teammates. So if you had to pair this thing with a couple Pokemon, what are the types, what are the roles you're looking to fill with GMAX Flapple on your roster?
I looked at every Pokemon out there, for the most part, that's pretty viable. And the thing I actually think that teams up best with Flapple is an offensive ground type or an offensive steel type. And there's one Pokemon that comes to mind, and that's Excadrill. The reason I feel Excadrill is a pretty good teammate for GMAX Flapple is because Flapple, of course, has a garbage move pool and doesn't get a lot of coverage. Therefore, it struggles against opposing steel types. It's going to struggle against fire types, probably bulky fire types, and Excadrill can take out both of those. And I feel that Excadrill, being the offensive threat that it is, really complements Flapple. Now on the bulky side, I do feel bulky water types are good because, as you guys do know, Grass Dragon, while a really good offensive typing, is a defensive curse because ice types actually destroy it. So that's why I feel bulky waters also help out Flapple.
So Excadrill is actually really good. Just a bit for my viewers, if you guys remember IBL, we had it for 1 week only. We had Flapple with the Sand Core of Drill and T-Tar, and it's very scary to deal with because Flapple breaks really well and Excadrill can sweep really well, or vice versa. So I like that pairing a lot. One thing that you did point out is a good steel type, and I definitely agree because you look at what Flapple is weak to. Bug, Poison, Flying, Dragon, Fairy, and 4 times weak to Ice. There's only one type in the game that resists all of those, and that's Steel. Unfortunately, the thing that sucks is there's not too many amazing Steel types in the game right now with the Dex cut. We are getting some back with the DLC that, by the time you guys are watching this, will be, I think, 2 days old. So that's pretty cool, but the big ones I'd say is if you can get a Magearna if it's illegal, an Aegislash, maybe a Magnezone, Metal, those are really good Pokemon that resist all the moves that Flapple is weak to, but at the same time can break really effectively. And Magearna and Magnezone get access to Volt Switch, allowing you to get momentum as well into Flapple, which is absolutely huge, I will say. Another thing for me is strong fire types. The only type that really resists Grass and Dragon is going to be Steel types. Some like combination dual types like Grass and Fairy resist it as well. So a good fire type, something like Cinderace, Salazzle, Incineroar are really good. Obviously those are just some of them, but a lot of fire types are really strong, and I would give high priority to the ones that get momentum too. And for me, Webs is the last thing that I want to touch on for moves, really helping out Flapple's really poor speed stat.
Yeah, I really like the Sticky Web edition because, yes, a lot of Flapple's threats, like for an example, Ice types are going to outspeed Flapple because Ice is just that good of an offensive type. A lot of Ice types are pretty fast and they do hit very hard. So slowing down any potential really fast Ice type, like a Mamoswine or a Weavile, that's really important for Flapple. And I just feel that Sticky Webs, or in fact, entry hazards in general, kind of help out Flapple because you obviously have to deal with like focus sash mons. You could potentially have to deal with like bulkier bonds, and any chip damage for Flapple is good because that's how your GMAX Tartness is going to be doing a lot more killing and a lot less Pokemon surviving.
100%. We kind of touched on it a bit before, but you mentioned the Yachi Berry, and that's an amazing item on Flapple. I think it's the best item because a lot of Pokemon do have ice coverage, and living a hit and setting up a Dragon Dance is important because while setting up your Dragon Dance, you're not GMAX. Another item I like is the Assault Vest. I like the Life Orb as well because Life Orb Hustle, good lord. Super Recovery Berries are also good because of the Gluttony ability, but those are just some items that I looked at and felt would be useful. Did you think of anything that was going to be really outstanding?
You hit my one item on the head, and I had Life Orb as my number 1 item for GMAX Flapple. I had Yachi Berry at 2.
So one thing we do have to do is, near the end of the video, we always give it a ranking. 1 to 10, 10 being the best. Where would you give Flapple compared to all the other GMAX Pokemon available?
I would give Flapple a solid 5.5. I don't feel it's too great, and I don't feel it's that bad. I think it's somewhere right in the middle.
Wow, so that...
Yes, I know a lot of leagues have Flapple tiered higher, but I don't know. I just feel it's one of the ones that are tiered higher that are like... there's several things that outclass it, and I just feel that Flapple is just literally the definition of an average GMAX.
That's interesting. I have a much higher ranking. That is actually the lowest ranking anyone has ever given on this series so far. We're 5 episodes in only, so it's not that bad. But, I mean, we've covered GMAX Snorlax, we've covered GMAX Lapras, Duraludon, Hatterene. I'm not surprised that it falls like in the middle of your, I guess, tiering. Flapple I would consider being an 8 on 10 because Hustle with GMAX is honestly just broken. It's so insanely difficult to switch in on. Yes, its move pool is trash, but you still need to have options, and you can break things really well. Just because your opponent resists grass doesn't mean they're not taking 50% from a +1 Hustle Life Orb boosted Max Grav Apple. It's just not happening. You gotta be aware of that, I think, and to me, it falls third behind Hatterene and Lapras as the best GMAX mons we've covered so far. And again, it's only been 5, including Flapple, but third is pretty good, and sitting with an 8 is not bad at all.
So the reason I actually have Flapple as low as I do is because I feel Flapple, you need really specific team composition in order for Flapple to work. Like I said earlier, I do feel like Steel types help Flapple, Bulky Waters help Flapple, Matt said Fire types really help Flapple. I just feel like Flapple can't really succeed unless you have the proper team composition. That, and I feel Flapple is very difficult to set up.
Fair enough. I mean, you made your points. We'll see where everyone stands. If they think it's going to be higher than a 5, they'll agree with me. If they think it's going to be lower than a 5, they'll agree with you. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, Brendan, was there anything else you want to cover or mention when it came to GMAX Flapple?
Nope, I think we hit everything right on the head.
Perfect. So you guys have heard what we think. Now I want to hear from you. If you're watching this video, comment what is your favorite or least favorite thing about GMAX Flapple or the GMAX mechanic in general. I would love to hear your responses. But that's going to be it for now. Hopefully you learned something more about GMAX Flapple. If this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, consider subscribing. You've already made it this far, meaning you've probably enjoyed it. And don't forget to like the video as well. We're still aiming for around 20 likes per video. Now usually this is where I would plug the straw poll link so you guys can vote on what I'm covering next. But given the DLC releases, I think it's fitting that the next 3 episodes we cover are going to be GMAX Cinderace, Inteleon, and Rillaboom. So comment which of the 3 you'd like me to see me cover first. So thanks for joining me today, Brendan. I really appreciate you coming on the channel for the first time in what seems like 2 years. And why don't you let the people know where they can find you?
Alright, so like Matt, I am a Draft League content creator, and I also do a bunch of casual Pokemon stuff. And you know what? I'm actually kind of starting to dip into other games as well, like Smash, Kingdom Hearts. You can find me over at DarkDevil26 on YouTube. I have DarkestDevil26 on Twitch because Twitch is mean and they took my name from me. And I also have a Twitter, which you could follow me again at DarkestDevil26. And finally, I have the Devil's Den Discord server. So like Matt and his Ocean, I have my own Discord server where we call every day and just have a good old jolly old time. So yeah, if you want to support me, it would be very much appreciated. And yeah, it was a pleasure being here, and I'm happy I got to talk about GMAX Flapple with you today.
You're welcome on the channel anytime. Okay, make sure to go and check out Brendan. Links are all in the description. Twitter, Discord, Twitch, YouTube, you name it, he's got it. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.